oh my gosh, what would have liked, what would, okay, I think he's missing, what would have liked to happen if they weren't there? He trying to draw you out. I feel you. Okay, I wasn't bothered by the camera. The wine definitely got me feeling good though. Me too. Had my mind running wild. He says, elaborate. And he says, this ain't what I asked you. I said, what would have happened if they weren't there? Would you have kissed me goodbye after saying in the car about the kiss that you wouldn't be going for? Okay. He said, not if you didn't want it. Um, hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Charlie and Otis. Man, after I do this video, he might not come on again. But listen, I cannot sit back and not tell the truth about how I feel and what I'm seeing. Maybe that's naive of me. But you know what? I think I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta say what I gotta say. Because the information right now is damning right now. And so therefore, I've got to really ask some strong questions. Okay? I've got to ask some really strong questions because what we are seeing, anti-Arabe, what am I seeing? You want me to commit a crime? You know what I'm saying? Right? So for me, I want to get into this. Someone's talking about lawyers. I think I also heard something about this as well. Uh and I think she put this on. Did she not put this on her post? She can't say much, and it's the lawyers. I think did I not see this on her Instagram post? I think as well about the lawyer situation as well. And I'm in my head, I'm like, what is the lawyer situation? Because this girl, this Milan has come on and given us is um what she feels is her particular truth, right? And her truth is that there are situations that are happening which Charlie was unaware of the conversation that was happening with with Otis um and um with Milan herself. Okay, so it's I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Let me just it's confusing for me right now because what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm on Charlie's Instagram post right now, and it's like I won't be reading or watching, addressing anything from someone looking for shine. I'm guessing talking about Milan. I speak for my family. Just watch what you do. My lawyer's on speed dial, so if you want an interview regarding this, it won't happen. See, now I'm confused. Okay, I'm confused because if somebody brings up information to you concerning the partner that you have, and they have evidence of conversation with the person, what is the lawyers for? Do you see what I'm saying? What is the lawyers for on speed dial? That's what I'm trying to understand because we saw on the reunion, it looked like you had dismissed some of the information. Now, listen, I get it. I listen. I get it that you're pregnant. You're in the last month of your phase. I understand that you don't want stress. I do understand that, but there's a greater stress that's coming. If this is true, there's a greater stress that's coming, which is that your partner, Otis, unfortunately, okay, has been out here talking to another woman during the course of the show. And he only showed you a bit of what happened, which you admitted to. And then there was a text conversation which you weren't aware of. Did he show you the text messages after the show? Did he show you the text messages after Milan had exposed and said she has text messages? Did he tell you the truth after? That's what I'm asking. You know what I mean? There's just a number of glaring issues that are happening. And I'm looking at it like, yo, like someone said, I think the thing for me, maybe it was for me. Maybe it was for me. I didn't even realize that because I actually speak to Charlie at times. I message her, make sure she's okay and everything as well. But obviously I haven't messaged her since the situation in Milan. So maybe she will not be okay with that. Maybe she did feel some type of way. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her, so I won't even try to um you know, I'm I'm not gonna say that it was necessary for me. Someone said it was for Gojo. Oh, okay. Maybe it was for me. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realize. But yeah, for me, it's just like the situation. Why are we ignoring what we're seeing? You know, why are we ignoring what we're seeing? That is scary for me. That's what we call delusion. When you ignore the reality that you're seeing and you double down again, it's called delusion. And I don't want to see that because from what we can see, with the evidence that's been presented, there was a whole bunch of conversations that were happening. Now, if he can do this, of course, you can forgive and say maybe he made a mistake. Again, let's what we can do that instead. But we're doubling down as if what the girl has said is fake or is not true. That doesn't seem right to me. Do you know what I mean? Like looking at the information, that doesn't seem right for me. So again, I didn't take the message as being for me. When I read it, I thought she generally just meant, for it was meant for it was meant for, I guess, the audience. But I can see what you mean. But until I speak to her, I don't think it was for me personally. But maybe I'll hit her up and just make sure. Maybe she meant it for me. I don't know. I don't think it was. But I get it. She said if you want an interview, so regarding this, it won't happen. So, I mean, I hope it's not for me because I think we need to address it. You know, I think we do need to address it. I think if I was to interview Charlie, if we couldn't ask about that, okay, let me make it very clear. If they accepted an interview, but I can't ask about what happened between Otis and Milan, there is no point of the interview. There's no point because then I won't be able to ask the real tough questions that we're seeing. How have you, how have you handled the situation going forth from that moment? How have you been able to recover? What are the things that you guys have been doing to kind of bring trust back into relationship? Did Otis tell you everything that you wanted to hear after the reunion? There's so many questions around that issue that it would be very difficult to do an interview and not address that part. It would be another fake interview. So I hopefully I don't think Charlie's mentioned that to me. I don't think that is the case. Um, but yeah, I'll message her and see. Maybe it was for me. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't take it as that. Do you know what I mean? Um, you know, uh, but it's not easy. Um, yeah. So and the reason why I think this is very important, I'm gonna say my honest truth about this situation, about what I am seeing from my personal point of view. Um, you know, um, I'm gonna be very frank, okay? Um, because I think this is a serious situation. Now, this is my personal opinion from what I have seen. This is my deduction. It does not mean it is the absolute truth. It is my opinion, my perspective of what I've seen. From the very beginning of this show, when we had a situation, and I said, I saw both sides. She came home with flowers. He put the flowers in the bin. I totally understood it. Right? I would have totally understood it. Then, when I saw the whole salmon situation, and you sit down in front of your partner, you can eat salmon and not say anything. right? And you see the person in front of you breaking down and crying, I am looking at you like you're moving very mad. Because now you're punishing the person and saying you're not gonna have no salmon, you're not allowed to eat, you have to cook your own meal, and the person's now sitting in front of you as you're eating your meal and crying, and you're eating your salmon with calm. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know. I don't know. How do we again, I would love to hear Charlie's perspective. Maybe they can have a different perspective on the situation. Maybe they'll see it a different way. But from what I've seen, this doesn't make sense for me, right? That was him punishing you. Now, of course, you guys have a tit for tat type of relationship. Let's be honest. You have a tit for tat relationship. So I get it, right? I get it. Fine, that part goes. Then the situation where, you know, you guys go on your respective dates, you know, and he goes with Milan, and then he tells you whatever he felt about Milan, which was negative, and then you use the negative what he said about Milan in a way to trump the other girl right in front of you. And I'm confused by that, right? I was like, whoa, okay. And then we now get a situation where, you know, he's on the date with Milan and you and the gentleman, and he comes over to kiss you. You stop him from kissing you. You reject him. Okay. Now, a situation where you find out he's texting another girl. He's been DMing Milan, which was not part of the plan. He lied about that situation. He's not being very open. He's not being very honest. He's not being very emotionally aware. He's not being very self-aware. And you're getting that from not only him, but you're getting that information from Dr. Nicole. She's breaking that down as well. I have to look and go, what's going on? Then we get a whole situation. Um, we get a whole situation where now you are saying you want to leave the relationship because of this situation. And from what we saw, I didn't hear much coming from him personally that said to me that you should go back. I know he spoke to his father. I know he spoke to his father and he got some better advice about how to behave. But again, it wasn't anything that was like, okay, great. I didn't necessarily hear anything that what he said was come back and we can work this out really well. I didn't hear growth. And maybe I didn't see it. Maybe you were telling us some growth situation, but I didn't really see it. You know what I mean? Okay. Um. All right. So then, uh. So now, obviously, the situation with then, you know, comes up, and he's talking about, and I just saw, even I saw on a post like they're even gonna try for a girl after, and I'm like, hey, have we sorted out everything? Have we sorted out everything? All the problems that we're facing, have we sorted it out? Why are we pressing along? Why are we pushing along when things have not been sorted out? He couldn't even understand you had needs. He could not understand that you had needs. So how do we move forward? And then we move forward again, and now he's proposing to you. And I'm looking at like, okay, he's proposing. All right, cool. But some of the things that he says, I'm like, darling, has he proved that he's changed? Has he? So that happens. Reunion comes round. Milan, a third party, then also shows you that she has DMs and texts, and even as she's talking, you shut her down. So now it's like we're doing stuck in the mud, and I'm here, and it's like I'm gonna defend all the madness that's happened. And so I have to be very frank. From my perspective, when someone does all of that, we spoke earlier on about Shorty. Let's talk about Charly. That's a self-esteem, how I estimate myself to be issue. There's probably a fear of being alone as being a single mother. I get it, being away from him, etc., etc. But that's still an esteem issue because you have to have boundaries. Boundaries, right? Boundaries. You told us you're not weak. You told us when Otis says you're weak, you said that's you're not weak. Okay. But now we're in a situation where we're now ignoring this lady who told us the truth about our situation, and we're ignoring it. Instead of you to be receiving and open and say, okay, you said you have messages. Let me see the messages. You said you have text. Let me see the text. Let me at least see what you have to offer. Because you're telling me you have all this information. Do you see what I'm saying? So now you instead of being receiving and open and say, actually, do you know what, blah, 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 intending to, no, I don't want to hear what you got to say. Let me tell you, from a wolf's perspective, we know you ain't going. From a wolf's perspective, we know you ain't leaving. From a wolf's perspective, if you don't question it, I know you ain't going. In my head, you're always going to be mine. In my head, I can always get you back. In my head, we'll always be together. Something's off, man. And so now we've got the situation where you said we said this on the last video. He said he wanted to start on kids right away, and now you're pregnant, and it's like, babe. So now you're pregnant, but you haven't really sorted out the issues that you guys have. Now it's going to be a bond forever, and we're praying for a safe delivery, by the way. But now it's going to be a bond forever. So now, no matter what, he's going to have some aspect with you, right? He's going to have some dealing, some business with you. Even if you leave, he's always going to want to say, well, my kid, and that could be access to you. So it's going to be a more difficult way to kind of navigate the situation. That's also very true. This is why we need to get her understanding. We didn't see any of Charlie's family on the show to support or give her guidance. That's very true. We didn't see that. But I think she said I think she did meet someone, but we didn't get to see it or something like that. Yeah. So, I'm looking at Charly and Otis. I'm like, yo, babe, I need you. Wake up, smell the Kenko coffee. Okay. Don't worry. Don't worry about trying to make a family stay together, because it's better to be a separate than to be at war in your own home. You know what I mean? It's better to be that way, because in all honesty, and by the way, I think Charly's already sat down with Enchanted PR. So they're already they've already started their interview. They've already, at least, even if they don't do my interview, they've already done an interview already in Enchanted PR. So this is her thing. This is Enchanted PR. So they've already done their sit down interview with Crystal XO. You know, but this sounds like somebody who is trying to convince themselves that this relationship is working and it's going to work, whilst ignoring yet all the red flags. And this again speaks to about an individual, not the other person. Otis will do what Otis is doing, but if you're ignoring the red flags, you are the issue because you are accountable for you. You know. I think I did see something like that. I remember seeing something like that. She made it saying it was a joke or whatever. But I'm like, babe, you was crying. Were you fake crying at that point? Like I need you to understand. Like, were you fake crying at that point? Is this a Darian and Alexis situation that we should know about? That's the question I'm asking. You know what I mean? It's sad, man. So unless they're lying to us, this is scary. And let me tell you why it's scary, because the amount of control that's happening. Because even Milan was talking about the fact that he would text her and say, "Don't say this, don't say that." You know, trying to control the narrative. I'm telling you, I'm starting to think: is it Alexis? Is it an Alexis and Darren situation where they came on for exposure? Because the confidence that he had, that chart, that the confidence that thingy had, um, the confidence that Otis had when talking to Dr. Nicole about, well, we know our relationship, so don't worry about that. I said, "Hey, how do you have so much confidence?" Hmm, interesting. So I'm waiting to see. You know what I mean? I'm waiting to see. I would love to do an interview with her, separately and get her thoughts, her truth. But hey, I'll take them both if they would come on both. Either way, you know what I'm saying? So someone said, "Where's Chrissy Dixon? She's not in the chat today." Ah! Wait. So yeah, honestly, um, yeah, it's gonna be a tight one. So I don't know what else to say about that, apart from the fact that with the information that was shared by Milan, I'd be look if another man, which men don't do this anyway, but if another man was to show me, that's true, that's true, that's true. And like I said, he's been trying to get her pregnant for time. But he's been trying to get her pregnant for time. So it's not new. He's been trying to do it for time because he wants to lock it down. Oh man. Well, you know what? You can't save people who don't want to be saved. You know. Uh You know, you can't save people that don't want to be saved. You know, she has to see it herself. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe they have a great relationship behind the scenes. You know, someone said she didn't take the birth control pill that day she conceived. Boy. Someone said he's gonna have her on with a bonnet on. It's tight, man. It's tight. It's tight. It's tight. Yep. Well, guys, I'm gonna leave it there, man. It's too much. Too much. It's too much. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you guys very, very soon. We'll release a few more videos about Kendra G and stuff as well, like that as well, coming up. But man, I don't know, man. Yeah. Hey, we'll let you know updates if there's any views coming up. Appreciate you guys.